Welcome everybody to part 2 of the 2000 year in review for my WCW series. And now we're in the second half of it where I go over the rest of the world. So, WWF/WWE, Japanese feds, Mexico feds, other random stuff that's going on, any big news from the year that I might have missed, going over basically some of the wrestlers that have been generated just to see what's different about them. So basically, probably, again, way too long, but still lots of fun. So and this is just interesting for me to go over myself. So yeah, I'm going to go through everything. Again, not going to go through super big stuff, but just, interesting stuff. But anyway, so we start out in the WE, and I, basically go over WD for the day to, take a bigger look at their roster, just more specific, and then for the rest of for everybody else, like New Japan, All Japan, the Mexican feds, etc., I'll be doing it from the WCW side, just looking at their roster like normal. But I decided WWF is our competition, so interesting to look at them. Anyway, we've got, so looking at the WWF's roster, we've got, starting out with the Big Show. He's actually had a solid year, starting from the low 80s, now he's in the mid 90s. And if we look at his match history, let's see here, starting in 2003, he actually had a solid amount of title matches. He won the King of the Ring. He had the match versus Brock and Kane for the world title at SummerSlam, and then actually the AI actually booked things kind of correctly, as they basically set up a rematch for Lesnar versus Show for the world heavyweight title. If we look at his, let's see here, we go to his profile, right? Yeah, if we go to his top 25 matches, if we look here, we've got some interesting stuff. We have Big Show defeating Regal in a cage match from SmackDown of May, getting in 99. Big Show versus Raven from SmackDown of August, getting in 99. A bunch of other random tag matches. So yeah, there we go. Fun stuff. Next up, we got Brock Lesnar, who's, honestly, I kind of made the AI push him, but now he's the top guy for them, as he should be. And if we look here, yeah, so he started out at 66 at the start of the year, and now he's a top guy. And again, if we look at his match history, so again, this is interesting. So at the Rumble, he was part of the Royal Rumble. At No Way Out, he was part of a random tag team match against Perry Saturn and the Dudley Boys. At WrestleMania, I had him defeat Chris Jericho. And then at Judgment Day, he was part of a 6-man where he defeated Jeff Hardy. Let's see here, as we continue on. At Vengeance, he had a match with the Big Show where he lost by DQ. And then at SummerSlam, I basically had him beat Kane and Big Show for the world title. But he had matches with Undertaker. He had a 99 with Regal at that point, and other matches. So once he actually won the title, he defeated Big Show to retain the title. Then he defeated Jericho, Triple H, and Kurt Angle in a 4-way. He had random big matches at Survivor Series. He defeated Shawn Michaels to retain the title. And then at Armageddon, he defeated Jericho in a dog collar match to retain the title. So yeah, there we go. And again, then we go forward, we got Chris Jericho, who's in the low 80s. His popularity, has been basically the same. And yeah, if we basically look at his year, he had the 2 title shots at Angle where he lost, and he had 2 title shots with Lesnar and he lost. And if we look at his top 25 matches, Austin versus Jericho at Judgment Day got 100, and 2 random tag matches got 100. Angle versus Jericho at Reign of SmackDown got a 99. Yeah, and Angle versus Jericho at No Way Out got 99. Gotta love the AI, how they've been booked. We got Edge, who again is still the interesting thing that the AI decided to book like hell, because it's not it's 2004 and he's already a top guy, which is very interesting. He's basically in the high 80s. And if interesting is if you look at if you actually look at his match, he doesn't wrestle a lot of matches, interestingly, but he wins most of them. If you look at his actual singles matches, okay, he defeated Rikishi, he defeated Jeff Hardy in a cage match on a SmackDown. He lost to Edge at WrestleMania. He teamed up with Big Show to defeat Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero at Backlash. Then he didn't show up to have a match until SummerSlam, and then he hasn't had any matches really since August, which is interesting. So it's interesting the way they booked him. Kane, who is Kane, popularity-wise, he's basically the same he was. Kurt Angle, who is one of the top guys in the promotion. Started at 86, now he's basically high 90s. And, basically he held the title till he held the title till Vengeance when the AI randomly booked Kane to beat him for the title, and then he lost a 4-way rematch. And then if you look at his other matches, like Survivor Series, he defeated Scott Hall. Unforgiven, he defeated Kane, sort of get his revenge after Kane dropped the title, which again, sometimes this AI knows how to actually book things all kind of by accident. And Iron probably is one of his bigger wins. He defeated The Undertaker. So that's interesting. Next thing down is Shawn Michaels. Michaels is interesting because he dropped down a lot through the spring, but then he built himself back up. Again, if we look at his match history, well, let's just look at his best matches. So go there. Defeating Rey Mysterio at No Mercy got 100. Defeating Billy Gunn and Random SmackDown got 100. Team with Chris Jericho taking on Kurt Angle and Billy Gunn got 100. Between Christian and Cage match got a 99. Losing Triple H at Vengeance got a 99. So lots of fun stuff. Next down is Steve Austin, who honestly is still wrestling, which is this is sort of the biggest change is he never got that information from if you look at his skills he's still slowly falling apart, but he's still not actually done. If you look at his actual skills, his actual physical skills are still okay, and fundamentals are still good. It's just his physical health is just dropping, falling apart. But yeah, if you look at his match history, basically turned face in August. TV Undertaker, Triple H, and Shane in a 4-way in September. Had a reign of 100 with Billy Gunn. Yeah, fun stuff. The Undertaker, surprisingly, is kind of not as over as you'd think. He started mid-80s, he's up to 90s now. And he sort of had an interesting era as whoops, that's popularity. Yeah, he didn't have any title matches. He had lots of matches, versus random people and some random hunches, but he never got that sustained push. And Triple H, who again, remember, in early part of this year, cheated on Stephanie with Lita, broken up. So they never got married, but he still has 2 years remaining on his contract because he re-signed that contract at the beginning of this year. So it's very interesting to see what they'll do in 2 years when his contract is up. Will they let him go? Will he just keep him around? It's very interesting and weird to me. But the weirdest thing is they've still booked him strong. That's beside the fact that if we look at his personality or personal info, Vince hates him, Shane hates him, Lita hates him. So yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. So yeah, that's the main eventers. Next up, we got stars. So Chris Benoit, who is Chris Benoit? He's solid stuff. Biggest thing is if we look at his match history, he lost the world title match at the Royal Rumble. He defeated Christian and Jeff Hardy to win the IC title at Mania. He defeated Dean Malenko in a match for the IC title. He defeated Steven Richards to retain the title. He defeated Regal to retain the title. Or defeated by DQ at Unforgiven, and then Regal defeated him for the title. And since he lost the title, he's basically been in random matches. He defeated he teamed with TNA to defeat DDP and the Outcast in a random match, which is okay, sure. Next thing down is Christian, who is still a heel, is a member of Team Angle, and one of half the tag champions with Billy Gunn. And that's been basically what he's been doing. Scott Hall, who is a babyface, he's still again, if we look at his personality, where is it? Oh, that's not his personality, but his attributes. He still looked he's still all that stuff, but he's nothing bad has happened so far. Okay, so The Rock is The Rock, but I have The Rock on a long time off, and basically what I'll do is when he's back is I'll give him another long time off. I might have him I think I might want to do is since we can change this now, is I'll probably go in and change him to have left the business, and then when his contract runs out, he'll basically just go to there. Trish Stratus, who is as you can see the only woman, and if we track that, decent. And yeah. Next thing down, we got Well Knowns. So Well Knowns is again Billy Gunn, who's a member of Team Angle and one half of the tag champions. He's okay. Bradshaw, who's still kick-ass Bradshaw teaming with Farouk. So he hasn't done his big changeover yet, but who knows what'll happen in the future. DDP, of course, came over from WCW, and if you actually look at his WWF run, it's sort of been interesting. So let me go over to WWE or WWF. So actually, with WCW, he had basically a 50-50 until I basically drowned him out at the end. So, but we look at WWE, he's actually been basically the same. Like, he had a strong start where he defeated Billy Gunn a bunch of times. He had some matches with Austin and Kane. Then he's sort of been falling into the mid card versus facing people like Raven, Billy Gunn, teaming up with Rikishi, and then doing jobs as top guys. So basically, he's a upper mid card job for the stars. Jim Cornette, who's basically over because he's Brock Lesnar's manager. Jim Ross, who's Jim Ross. Kevin Nash, who's somebody else who I had brought in basically for one reason, So he left the company at this in June. He signed with he had him signed to WWF for SummerSlam, where he teamed up with Triple H to take on Scott Hall and Shawn Michaels. And then from there, he's basically been, again, a sort of I don't say a mid-carder, but yeah, he had a match on SmackDown against Shawn Michaels. He, let's see here. Actually, let me just look at his other trip. Let's look at also involving Shawn Michaels to see if they had it. Okay. So basically, Shawn Michaels defeated him by DQ twice. And then if we look at Scott Hall defeated him in a cage match. And yeah, so interesting. Fun stuff. Lita's Lita, of course. She has lots of hatred. But again, she's been booked okay. Not perfectly, but she's still been booked 50-50. She hasn't been squashed. But it's very interesting. Michael Cole. Now, the one thing is, Jim Ross is still here, so he's not, the main guy for the WWF guy yet, so that's interesting. Mick Foley's, again, I gave him time off. He's, not really around anymore. And I didn't want him to, have a random match according to the AI when he's not really wrestling anymore. Molly Holly's another woman. She's doing decently. Not terrible, not great either. Paul Heyman is still on the Young Squad. Raven's interesting because he was part of the top heel group with Austin, and then once I had Austin turn face, he didn't do much. Basically, okay, so if you look at stuff involving him and Austin, so beforehand, plenty of matches with Serbia facing top guys, and then basically, the story returns on, but Austin defeats Raven at a random SmackDown in October, and that's it. So there you go. Shane is a occasional wrestler, so yeah. Steph is a babyface, scorn lover, and yeah. Taz is Taz, not quite an announcer yet, but still, but he doesn't actually wrestle all that much. Teddy Long is still Teddy Long. Vince McMahon is still Vince McMahon. And Will Regal is the current IC champion, and actually gotten pretty decently over in the past year or so. Recognizable. Okay, so this is where things get. So we got the Dudleys. We got Deborah, who's part of Team Angle. Dean Malenko, who's a babyface. Grandmaster Sexy, who's a heel now. Ivory, who is a manager. Jacqueline, who manages Val Venus and Rikishi. K-Quick, who's here. Matt Hardy. Jackie Gata, who brought up from Developmental and's done decently. Jerry Lynn, who's been sort of just here. He's gone over, but most matches have been on Heat, so there you go. We got Farouk, who's still around and still wrestling. Let's see here. Matt Hardy is here. Of course, Jeff's with WCW, so since Jeff left, he's sort of been just a random guy on the roster. Paul Bearer is currently gone. Perry Saturn is interesting because he's basically not done much. He's basically been in a bunch of random matches. And okay, so here's a pretty big one, is Randy Orton. So again, start with 50-40s, and since he's now a year later, he's up in the 60s. And again, if you look at his match history, lots of matches against top guys. But if we look at over his actual pay-per-view history, so pay-per-view, of course, he's part of Royal Rumble. At No Way Out, he's on the pre-show between Crash Holly. At Mania, he's part of the pre-show Battle Royal. At Backlash, he's on the pre-show. On Judgment Day, he's part of the pre-show. But by King of the Ring, he's on the main show defeating Haku. At Vengeance, he's part of a 6-man. At SummerSlam, he defeats X-Pac. Of course, that's booked by me, but still. He had his first sort of big match as he loses loses to Kurt Angle by DQ in September. He has a 99 against Randy Orton cage match. He has 100 versus Angle in a cage match. So that little mini feud really helped him. And then he doesn't really wrestle on pay-per-view all year long, aside from Unforgiven, where he defeats Chris Benoit by DQ, and then until Armageddon, where he defeats Matt Hardy by countout in a match for the European title. So that's interesting. Rhino is Rhino. He's on the roster still. Rikishi's still out. Sergeant Slaughter is a backstage guy. Steven Richards is a babyface. So, he's actual Stevie Richards. Terry is the women's champion for weird reasons that I still don't get. Test is Test. Maybe he'll hook back up with Stephanie. Who knows? Tommy Dreamer is around. And Val Venis is around. So, unimportant people. Al Snow is sure a guy. Albert, again, is Albert. Ariel Belmont, Shelly Martinez, Ariel from ECW's Reboot. She's Levitton's manager. She's around. Blue Boy is here as a jobber. Brooklyn Brawler is Brooklyn Brawler. Dealer Brown's around. Yeah. He's basically, yeah. He basically just got brought back up after being in HWA forever, which is interesting to me. And yeah, he's basically been just really came back for the last couple weeks. Same thing with Blue Boy. So yeah, Blue Meanie was on in HWA until basically the middle of the year, and since then he's been a pure jobber. Elizabeth Love is somebody I had come up on the roster. So Lizzie Valentine, I think, and. She's been okay in the WS since she got brought up in November. Not terrible. Funaki is Funaki. Jillian Hall is Jillian Hall. Levitton is, of course, Pete Pista. Item come up after the SummerSlam. It hasn't done great so far, but what can you do? Mark Henry, is really, he got brought back up, let's see here, way back, basically at the beginning of the year. And he's sort of scarily been just a jobber, which is interesting. Nick Dinsmore has brought up from OVW. He's been okay. He's basically been a pure jobber, no actual character yet. Ron Waterman is another guy who's been a pure jobber, despite looking like a star. Sonny Majors is random women's wrestler who got signed and now is just part of the roster. Spike Dudley is Spike Dudley. Taylor Metheny is, I think it's Spanky's, part Tough Enough, and then Spanky's future wife, or Brian Kendrick future wife. She's just on the roster now. And X-Pac. So, if we look past unimportant people, to be decided, right? Yeah, okay. And Matt Classic, who I just had come up from the roster, who's also Colt Cabana. So again, if we look at their figurehead is Steve Austin. Grade of Y. So, top guy is Shawn Michaels, 2 is Angle, 3 is Austin, 4 is Triple H, 5 is Brock. Next big things for them is Orton, Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, Rhino. Hot prospects is Randy Orton, Lita, Molly Holly, Matt Hardy, and Rhino. Talk the talk is Rock, Shawn Michaels, Austin, Angle, Jericho. Again, are you surprised? Showstoppers are Michaels, Rock, Angle, Jericho, Orton. Ring Generals is Michaels, Benoit, Triple H, Rock, Jericho. Who's hot is Christian, Jericho, Edge, Austin, Michaels. Who's not is just Kevin Nash. And there you go for that. They're stables, so there's 4 meets. So there's Team Angle, which I kind of created, which is Angle, Christian, Billy Gunn, and the Dudleys with Deborah's support because she turned on Austin after they divorced for real. Tea Time is a random, because obviously if these names make sense, I change them. But right now it's Regal, Hall, and Richards, which is interesting. Hybrid Hyenas, which is a 4-person alliance of Spike Dudley, Crash Holly, Funaki, Incredible. And the interesting thing is they're all heels. And then Disturbia, which is Austin's prior group when he was a heel, but now it's just Raven and the APA. Teams wise, so we got the Big Boys, which is Mark Henry and the Blue Boy. Bump and Grind, which is Val Venis and Rikishi. Dudleys, which is who they are. Quick and Sexy, which is Grandmaster Sexy and K-Quick. Little Fellas, which is Funaki and Spoke Dudley. Lead Ivory, which is just Lead and Ivory. Outcast, which is Tommy Dreamer and Rhino. TNA, which is TNA. APA, which is APA. Radicals. Wild and Wicked, which is a team I should rename, but I just don't care. And your new heroines, which is Taylor and Jillian on the other card. Title-wise, so actually this is a good start. So for them, the year started with Viscera as a champion. He held the title till Malenko won the title in March. Malenko, actually, yeah, better if we just go through defenses. Okay, so starting here, X-Pac defeated Mario Gianni by Q, match that in for the European title. X-Pac defeated Rikishi to retain the European title at Heat. At Actual Mania, Jerry Lynn defeated X-Pac to win the European title and basically merge it with the light heavyweight title. Then at Judgment Day, Lynn defeated Grandmaster Sexy. King of the Ring, Lynn defeated Jake Roberts. Vengeance, Lynn defeated K-Quick by DQ. At SummerSlam, Matt Hardy defeated Jerry Lynn. Then at Unforgiven, Matt Hardy defeats Steven Richards. Survivor Series, Matt Hardy defeats Rikishi. And Armageddon, Randy Orton defeated Matt Hardy by count. So interesting. If we go to the women's title, again, we look at defenses. Lita won a 4-way at the Rumble. Trish Stratus defeated Lita and Molly for the women's title at No Way Out. Trish defeated Lita at Mania to retain the title. Lita defeated Trish for the title back at Judgment Day. Lita defeated Trish for the retain title at King of the Ring. Trish won the title back at Vengeance. Then there wasn't a defense till No Mercy when Trish Stratus won a 4-way. And then Terry defeated Trish Stratus and Jackie Gata for the title at Survivor Series. And then she defeated Selena Majors to retain the title. If we look at the World Tag Team title defenses, so at the start of the year, APA defeated the Dudley Boys to retain the titles. Outcast won a 3-way with the Dudley Boys and APA to win the titles at WrestleMania. Dudley Boys defeated Outcast to win the titles back at Backlash. Radicals defeated the Dudley Boys with the titles at Vengeance. Billy Gunn and Christian defeated the APA and the Radicals to win the titles at SummerSlam. Team Angle then defeated Bump and Ground at Unforgiven to retain the titles. Then they defeated the Outcast by DQ at Survivor Series, and then he defeated Bump and Ground again at Armageddon. For the IC title, Christian defeated Rikishi by DQ to match that for the IC title. No Way Out. Benoit defeated Christian and Hardy for the title at WrestleMania. Benoit defeated Malenko. Benoit defeated Richards. Benoit defeated Regal. Orton defeated Benoit by DQ at Unforgiven. Regal defeated Benoit for the IC title at Survivor Series. And Regal defeated K-Quick by DQ at Armageddon. And then, last but not least, for the world title, Angle defeated Benoit at Royal Rumble in 100. Angle defeated Jericho in 99. Angle defeated Michaels at Mania. Angle defeated Kane at Backlash. Angle defeated Hall in a Cage match at Judgment Day. Angle defeated Jericho at King of the Ring. Kane defeated Angle at Vengeance. Lesnar defeated Kane and Big Show for the title at SummerSlam. Lesnar defeated Big Show at Unforgiven. Lesnar won that 4-way. Then Lesnar defeated Michaels. And then Lesnar defeated Jericho in a dog collar match. So, let's see here. Events TV, same basic lineup they've had forever. So yeah, lots of hundreds because it's the AI. Okay, so we look at their developmental real quick just to see who they have. So on the male side, they have entirely too many people, but I'll go over some of the interesting people. So they got Bull Buchanan, Charlie Hosh, Christian York, Chuck Taylor, CM Punk, Cody Hawk, Danny Doring, The Damaja, Eric Angle, ECMO Fat 2, Homicide. Let's see here. Roy Ryan, John Cena, so a little behind the curtain there. I was going to change history and actually have Cena sign with New Japan at the start of this year, but basically right at the end of the year, they hired Cena. I mean, because beforehand, Cena had basically been on the Indies, wrestling great matches. He won the King of the Indies in 2003, which is just hilarious to think about. Anyway, John Morrison, of course, Justice, Chris Abyss, Lance Cade, Matt Capitelli, Maven, Rico Constantino, Rob Conway, Russ Haas, Shaggy Dutope of all people, Slash, also known as Wolfie D, Shelton Benjamin, Steve Bradley, and of course Spanky. So there we go. And on the female side of things, they have Jamie Keys, Kara Slice, the future Cherry, Linda Miles, future Shanika, Victoria down here to basically just train girls, Ryan Shamrock, and Sarah Stock, who Dark Angel, I think she had a short TNA run, I forget. Now she works as a trainer. Let's see, look at their merch. Austin is their number one merch by 3 times, making $12 million a month. Then Michaels, Taker, Angle, Rock, Show, Edge, Triple H, Jericho, Kane. Let's see here. Anything else that matters? Backstage-wise, yeah, the only bad thing is basically all the stuff about Triple H and The Rock. But yeah, that's it for WCW. So going to pause it for a second, go back to WWE. Go for WWF. I'm going to go back to WCW. then go over basically the other companies, and then go through other stuff as we need. So I'll be back with that. So I'll just take a second here. All right. Yeah, so let's go over the other major companies. So I think the easiest way to just do this is just by size. So reset active. So yeah, so let's start with New Japan. Okay, so Inoki's still their owner, Muda's still the booker, and then if we look at their roster, I thought, okay, I thought I fixed the issue with the pictures, but I guess I'm going to have to actually go through and, because yeah, that's the weird thing. Because if I just go through, like, if I just try to go find Inoki in like the normal, like, he has a picture. But I guess, okay, so I guess I have to go back and actually change that via, which is annoying. I mean, I guess it's not so annoying because like in the normal like view it works okay, just like not okay. I mean, it's not the end of the thing. Anyway, back to the company. Hey, roster. I mean, you should know these people. So Inoki, he hasn't wrestled. So we got Tenzon, who's one half of the tag team champions. Liger, who's Liger. Sakuraba, who of course is a future famous MMA guy. Muda, who's Muda. Chono, who's Chono. Riki Choshu, who's really old. Kojima, who's of course the other half of team with Tenzon. Tayokeya, who had a long run in All Japan. Fujinami, who's also old. And Yuji Nagata. So star-wise, they got Don Fry, El Samurai, Hiroshi Hase, who's also their AJPW heavyweight champion. I don't know. Tanahashi, who's actually, like, that's USA, but if we go to Japan, like, he's actually getting quite over. And he's Tanahashi, skills-wise. We got Shamrock, who's also signed with them, which is interesting. Kansushi Sakaki, Koji Kanemato, and Minoru Tanaka. Then if we go to well-known, again, I'm not going to go over every member of the roster, but just people who might be interesting to see. They got Fujita, who would have a run later. Ogawa, who of course had this famous shootish match with Hashimoto. Izuka, who would be later more famous as like just a weirdo heel. And then if we go down to recognizable, so Bobby Roode is not only in New Japan, he's also their current junior heavyweight champion. And he's actually like, where is it? Yeah, popularity. In Japan, he's actually quite decently over. So yeah, good for Bobby. Other people, Brian Evans and Brian Clark still have a job there. Chris Candido has a job there. Chris Hero has a job there. Let's see here. Other people. Ito and Jado, even though they aren't the bookers. Hakushi still has a job here. Adam Tokyo has a job here instead of with Dragon Gate. Sato Yoshino also has a job here instead of with Dragon Gate. Mr. Wall Street, Mike Pretendo still has a job here. And Nigel McGuinness has a job here. So that's interesting. If we look at unimportant people, I think that's it of people that people would know care about. Oh, Roger Strong is also here. So if you want to know where all your Indies guys are, they're in Japan. And then, let's see, if we look at their, let's see here, top 100s. So yeah, if their best show this year got 93 in July. So it was topped by Kenchoji defeated Bat, who was Muto and Kea in 98. Chono defeating Fujita in an 83. Bobby Roode defeated Tanahashi, retains the junior heavyweight title in an 85. Battle on Denny, which was the shoot stable of Shamrock and Ogawa, defeated Sekigun of Osamu Nakanishi. And then the Junior Stars, which is Koji and Tanaka, defeating Fly Kid, Achirara, and Tokyo to retain the junior titles in 82, and some fun undercard stuff. So, best matches. That 98, which I just showed. Liger versus Nigel in Best of the Super Juniors. Liger versus Nigel at Onward Recharge in December. Tag team match between Kenjoji and Tanahashi and Osumo. Then Kenshodi versus Chono and Hasi. Then Liger versus Kejin at Best of the Super Juniors. This Jushin Liger guy might be alright. I also, as part of like, I basically, what am I saying here? What I did was I also like released some people. I'll go back to WWE for this also. Is so basically I released people who like it made no sense they were still part of the in New Japan, because like again I don't want to like totally keep things to reality, but I want to keep things somewhat to reality. So like basically random indie junior guys or people who were like who came in for one weird dome show where Big Japan got some spot, like I now they're still like 2 years later, stuff like that. Lina Asuka, who came in as a manager but never did anything, I also released her. I also did the same thing with WWE, so if I just go here real quick, not here, we just, right, that's the easiest way to do it. Go to WWE. So yeah, I released basically a bunch of old guys. So Jake Roberts, Greg Valentine, Aku, Skull, Cheetah Kid, who's Johnny Grunge, and Big Boss Man was all like, yeah, all these people. Just so see if they bring up more people, and also just like because like they're not going to keep those type of people on the roster forever, especially in 2004. Anyway, go back to the other companies back at. Okay, so go back to New Japan. Tag team wise, so they got a pair of aces, which is Kentaro Mori and Fly Kid Achiara. Bat, which is Muto and Keiya. Blue Justice, which is Iizuka and Nagata. We got Brother Yashi and Jun Okiwara. Jeff Beard and Kanito. Junior Stars. Chronic. Tokyo and Silver King. McGinnis and Pump. Okay. Rob Rage and Kitahara. Rude and Katio, which is interesting. Kenkoji, who's Tenkoji. Wild Rebellion, which is Shono and Ogawa. Which is, yeah, a tag team that I made because they were under a different weird name. And then Yoshino and Demikin, who's the other tag team. Then stable-wise, so, yeah. So we got American Muscle, which is basically me putting all the American guys, because basically what happened is the game broke up the shooter stable, so I created a new stable, basically all the American guys. So you got Shamrock, Candido, Chronic, and Jeff Bearden. We got the Junior Destruction Unit, which is, again, this was originally made by the game under a different name, and because it was all juniors, I made this unit. We had the King Killers, who are no longer inactive. We had Ricky Gun, which is basically just a random heel gimmick of Ricky, Chushu, Iizuka, and Nagata. Seiga Gun, which is again just the New Japan like leaders, which is Hase, Tanahashi, Nakanishi, and Sumo, and Tenkoji, which is Tenzan Kojima and Moon Kanemaru. This used to be a different stable, but I basically renamed it because that's all the people there. Let's see here. Titles. Again, I'll just go over. So yeah, Best of the Super Juniors, Jushin Liger won it last year. Q and Climax, Choshu won it last year. Tag Lead, Iizuka and Nagata won it last year. First, we go, but for the tag titles, we go with the junior tag titles. To start, the year started with El Samurai and Liger defeating Junior Stars to retain the titles at the Tokyo Dome. We had Junior Star defeating Samurai and Liger for the titles, and then they defeated American Dragon and Aguila to retain the titles. Then they defeated Tokyo Faigen Hachiura, Yoshino Dominican, Katakira and Mutsushi, and Tokyo and Silver King, and then defeated Guido and Jado. So basically, they won the titles off Samurai and Liger, and then never defended against them again. Then we got the junior heavyweight title, which basically has only been defended twice. So Keiya defeated Tanahashi to retain the tag title in January. Rude beat Keiya for the title in June. Rude defeated Tanahashi to retain the title in July. So if we go back to Rude real quick and see what he's been doing since July. So, since July. So basically, lots of tag matches with Koji Kato, and yeah, so just random signal stuff. Interesting. Then go back to titles. So tag team titles again. Tenkoji defeated Kenda Killers to retain the titles at Tokyo Dome. They defeated Iizuka and Fry to retain the titles. They defeated Tanahashi and Nishimura to retain the tag titles. They defeated Fry and Chon to retain the tag titles and Crush, and then he defeated Bat to retain the tag titles in the match of the year to retain the titles in July. And then again, if we go to let's go to Kojima, just to make it simple, or Satoshi. Then if we also include... Oh, okay, so he's only had 5 matches all year. That's interesting. And then the IJPW Heavyweight Champion, which is sort of the weirdest because of who's holding here right now. So the year started with Choshu as a champion. He defeated Iizuka at Wrestling World 03, which is very weird. Then he defeated Shono. Then he defeated Hossie, but Hossie beat him in May. Then Hossie defeated Ogawa, Shamrock, and Nagata. And then if we look at basically their size, so if we look at their progress, they started at 79, started the year, and they're back down to 77, which kind of makes sense because they sort of had a stagnant year. Like, you know, which is interesting. Now we move on to Noah. Noah, let's see here. Let's see here. So they're big. And yeah, if we look at the roster, oh yeah. So Misawa is still the owner, booker, figurehead, major star. He's still Misawa. And then again, if you look at our roster, major stars is Akiyama, Kobashi, Misawa, Ogawa. So Noah's booking like Noah. Stars wise, we've got Taue and Takayama. Oh. Well known wise, we've got Bam Bam Bigelow, who's randomly here, Aikida, Marufuji, Marvin, Yasuda Kikuchi, and Vader, who's retired but is now a referee. I don't know. We got recognizable Isaito, Blue Panther, Boris Boulder, Kenta, and then a bunch of Steve Blackman randomly, Taru randomly. And then unimportant, we've got Bobby Eaton, okay, who's also here as a road agent. And not a lot of other people, Paul Orndorff, who's here as a road agent, and Morishima, who basically just showed up. So yeah, so their stables are even wackier than ours. So Emerald Army is again, if it makes sense, I named it. Emerald Army is Misawa, Morishima, Rikio. Rising Sun is Saito, Akiya, Kenta, and Marufuji. The pool is Marvin, Kikuchi, and Bam Bam. Let's see here. Tag teams. Let's see here. Featured attraction is Kikuchi and Kenta, who have been tag team champions before. And let's see, is there anybody interesting? Else Pressure Drop is Kanemaru and Akita, who's been a tag team since May of 2001. Yeah, I think that's about it. So if we look at the titles, so again, junior heavyweight tag team titles. Asako and Sano defeated Pressure Drop for the junior heavyweight tag titles in September, and that's the time they've been defended. Junior heavyweight title, again, Marvin defeated Kenta for the title in January, defeated Kanemaru, Marufuji, Kanemaru again, and then Kenta defeated Marvin for the title in December. GHC tag team titles, so Pressure Drop defeated Marufuji and Saito to retain the titles in January. Then defeated Kawabata and Blackman, Featured Attraction again. Then Featured Attraction defeated them for the tag titles in June. Featured Attraction retained titles against Asako and Sano in July. They defeated Marufuji and Saito in September, and they defeated Pressure Drop again in October. And then the heavyweight title, of course, Misawa defeated Akiyama for the title in June, and then he defeated Akiyama in a rematch in December. Again, if we look at their top 100, their best show was in June, so if we pull that up, it was highlighted by the 99 where Misawa won the title, and Ogawa and Kobashi defeated Takayama and Taue match, got an 87, the GHC tag title change, and then a bunch of other matches on the other card. And then if we look at their size, if we track the progress, they've actually been slightly gaining, because again, big main events. So again, that's interesting. So again, if we go down to medium, we've got a couple other companies here. Okay, so now we're to All Japan. So All Japan is interesting because old Makoto is still the CEO and owner, but right now there is no booker. Because basically they had a random guy, David Morgan, who's just a random English guy as their booker for a while, so that's weird. And then he left, so that's it. Oh, that's one other thing I wanted to double check with Noah. Sorry, I'm going to double check, see if anybody they left. So Noah, let's see here. So Noah, let's see here. Who's leaving? So yeah. So okay, nobody that interesting. Pentagon, who's not that Pentagon, but another Pentagon, the older Pentagon. Tiger Hattori, who is of course longtime ref, and Pat Tanaka all left. So nothing too interesting for them. I just want to double check because I noticed some changes with All Japan. Anyway, so All Japan, if we look at their roster, your stars is Hase, who again is working. So this is interesting because right now, Hase is both the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and the All Japan Champion. And he's 42. Like, Jesus Christ, what is going on here? Anyway, so Stan Hansen, who's not even a wrestler anymore, Kaya, who's of course, and Kawada. Then we got, for stars, we've got Omori. For well-knowns, we've got Too Cold Scorpio, Akira, Kurt Hennig randomly, Jim Steele, who's still here, Fuchi, Yoni. Again, not a ton of well-known guys, even by W. So we got Dragon Kid, who's here instead of Dragon Gate, which is interesting. We got Grey Nanawa, Noki Doi, who's here instead of Dragon Gate. Ishii. And then unimportant. So yeah, lots of guys who really don't matter. Ricky Fuji's here. Ari Brookside is here. Savio Vega is here. Oh, no, that's not. No, that's a different. That's CNT. That's the different. That's not Savio Vega. Tommy Rogers is here as a road agent. So yeah, it's very weird. And yeah, if we look at their news real quick, so so yeah, actually, what happened? If you notice, okay, so Tenryu was part of New Japan, but then he left in July. And then because he left as the booker, and he hasn't wrestled since then. So that's interesting. And he walked out with the tag titles, which is very interesting. But he hasn't been around since then, which is also interesting. Williams left. Doc Dean, Sasaki left to go to New Japan, and Sebu left. So that's interesting. Let's see here. Staples. Yeah, there's the Axis, which is yikes. Has Kawada, Hennig, Scorpio, Hayabusa, Ishikawa. Okay, and the Guild, which is Dragon Kid, Super Richard Powered. Okay, yeah. So if we look at their titles real quick. First, the All Asia Tag Team titles. Ashura and Yona were the start of the year's champions, and basically they held the titles till September when Kimura and Okamura held them, and they defeated teams like Defiant Playboys and Heinz and Bart to retain the titles. Let's see here. Champions Carnival went to Muto again last year, because again, Muto was booker for All Japan and for New Japan and part of All Japan until I basically forced him to leave. World Junior Heavyweight title, again, Scorpio defeated Nunzio for the title in February, and he defeated Akira, Yuki Ishikawa, and Aoki. Then Yuki Ishikawa defeated Scorpion for the title in October, and he defeated Hayabusa to retain the title. So solid stuff. Let's see here. World Strongest Tag Team is something I need to change because it's set up incorrectly as a singles tournament, which sucks. Let's see here. Unified Tag Team title. So, again, Kaya and Smith had titles in February to start the year. They defeated Tenryu and Hase. Tenryu and Hase won the titles in June. Tenryu left, so Jim Steele and Johnny Smith defeated Kimura and Okamura for the titles in July. They held the titles basically through the rest of the year. And then Triple Crown. Again, Kawada defeated Fuchi to retain it, then Tenryu to retain it in June. In April, Hase defeated Kawada in July, and then Hase defeated Kawada again in December. So yeah, and then if we look at their size, we track their progress. Yeah, they've basically been treading water, which is not great for them. I mean, they're still, making money, but still not doing great. Anyway, I may as well go to the other Japanese companies first before we go over to Mexico, just for some things here. So we got Michinoku Pro, Suzuki's the owner, Shinjaki's the booker, and basically I'll just go for these companies. I'll just go over the roster and just go over anybody interesting. So, Brutus P. Fake is here. Good news is he hasn't he's actually been wrestling. So yes, Brutus P. Fake has been wrestling in Michinoku Pro. Yeah, I don't need it. Chad Collier is here. Rick Suzuki is, of course, here. Ikushi is here, like I said. Let's see here. Other interesting guys. Larry Zbyszko is here as a manager, road agent. Okay. Samoa Joe is here. And he's basically been a mid-card guy. Otani, of course, is here. Shinya Makabe is here. Of course, he had a big career later on. Super Crazy is here. Tiger Mask 4 is here. And Shibata, of all people, is here. And Shibata was also previously part of DDT, so that's interesting. And he's currently training for an MMA fight, so that's interesting. And their titles, again, well, I'll just go over them real quick. So, Gato held their light heavyweight championship until Ikushi, then Gato won the title back. Their tag titles started with Nishida and Collier, holding the titles, then Shinsaki and Mokuzuki defeated them in May, and they held the title since then. And then Super World Welterweight Champion Suzuki defeated Shibata for the title in March, and then Otani defeated Suzuki for the belt in December. If we look at their profile, their top 100, so their best match is Otani versus Suzuki from October, which got an 89, and then Firehouse defeating Suzuki and Kid Guzman in an 82, and Hidaka versus Mojo in 81 in December. So interesting stuff. Yeah, news-wise. So this is okay. So they had some people leave. So Marvin left, Yamaguchi left, American Dragon eventually left, Kobayashi left, Kanda walked out, and Segota also left. Again, if you look at their size, and so they've actually been slowly growing. Not hugely, but slowly. But yeah, I mean, and then we go to 0-1, which of course has Hashimoto as the owner, Otani is the booker. And again, I'll go over the roster to see if there's anything interesting. So Akamoto's here, and he's actually quite over. Black Buffalo, Charles White, former Goodfather is here, and he's actually gone decent since he left the company. Sakamoto is here, of course. Kyoto Kida is here as a young guy. Let's see here. Anybody else? Sato Shinaka is, of course, here, because this is his own promotion. Scott Norton is here. Otani is here. Hashimoto is here. Super J, former Sting, is here. Or NWO Sting. Tiger Mask 4 is also here. And Fujiwara is here. Again, to go over their championships. So their annual tournament was won by Otani. The international tag titles have been Ega and Sato defeated Miki and Oyami in November for the titles. International junior heavyweight. Aikata started the year. Asuka defeated him in June, and so lots of kicking in that sort of shoot style stuff. And then the 0-1 World Heavyweight Championship. Tanaka defeated Samojo for the title in March and has held the title since then. So fun times. That's probably why Samojo is now in All Japan, because he actually got over 0, which makes sense. And again, as far as their size, if we track their progress, they've been also slowly growing. Not by a huge amount, but they've been getting it done. So now we move from Japan over to Mexico. So we'll start off with a AAA. We'll go through their roster again. I'll go through their roster, their big shows, and everything just to see what's going on. So again, their roster. Their top guys. So major stars: Blue Demon Jr., Simoniko, El Connect, Hector Garza, Hoovy, who's gotten hugely over. Let's see, we'll go back down to Mexico. Yeah, he's 70s. Parker 2, and Perro Aguayo. Stars is El Dandy, El Zorro, Mascara Sagrada, Nisha El Mirno, as Psychosis, Super Kalo, and yes, Warrior. Yes, that Warrior. And yeah, he signed up for AAA, and so he signed for the company in March. And yeah, he's just been there doing. He had an 86 in a match also involving Angel Azteca. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously like attributes, he's still like the warrior, but it's interesting. Well known. Let's see here, is there anybody who you guys? Damien 666, Felino, Pirate Morgan. Is there anybody like young guys on here that you guys would know? Let's see here. Jim Neidhart is randomly here. Okay. Laurel Jr. You might know who he becomes eventually. And yeah, okay, so basically that's it. So if we go to, AAA here, if we go to their like top show, so like their top show this year was Guerra de Tiantes. So it was highlighted by Hector Cardes defeating Cybernetico to retain the Mexican National Heavyweight title in a 93. Parker 2 defeated Blue Demon Jr. in the 82. Segura defeated Felino. We had a 6-man involving El Connect the Warrior and other fun stuff. So their best match this year was a 294s. Cybernetico defeating Super Calo and Hoovy defeating Felino. And then Hector Garza defeating Cybernetico in 2 different matches, which got a 93. Let's see here. Other ranking stuff. Let's see here. Title-wise. So, America's Trios champions are currently Angel Azteca, Halloween, and Nicho Monero. They've held the title since October. The Mexican national tag titles are Halloween and Psychosis. They defeated El Hijo del Sotorio and El Zorro for the titles back in October. And yeah. Middleweight champion is Sagrada, who defeated Emilio Chargers for the title in September. National heavyweight champion is Hector Garza, who defeated Warrior for the title in July. And the champion de champions is La Parca 2, who defeated El Connect for the title in August of 2003. And the Radio Rays tournament was won by Latin Lover in 2002. Which also, there's no current tournaments, so I need to fix that. Okay, so Radio Rays titles I need to fix, and that All Japan title I need to fix. Okay. Good to know. And then size-wise, in Mexico, yeah, they've dropped a little bit. So we'll go over to CMO. Who's losing a lot of money, which is something I might have to look over and see what's going on with them. I mean, honestly, let me see here. Pay-per-view revenue, ticket sales, workers. Yeah, something weird's going on here. Anyway, if we look at their roster, and I'll go over people who matter. So major stars, Abismo Negro, Astro Boy, Atlantis, Dr. Wagner Jr., El Hijo del Santo, Latin Lover, Negro Casas, Octagon, Shocker, Universal 2000. All the people you sort of expect. Stars-wise, we've got Electroshock, The Actual La Parca, Mr. Nebula, Silver King, Ultimo Guerrero, and Villano 3. Well-knowns, we've got, let's see here, Cien Sarjarez, who's actually... That's a lot less popular than I thought it would be. That's interesting. He's also getting older. Rey Bucaruno and Rey Mysterio Sr. Recognizable. The rest of Villanos. Brazo de Oro, Brazo de Plata. And then, under unimportance, you've got La Sombra. Of course, will become nothing in the future. And yeah. So, if you look at their profile, their top 100s, so top 100 match is a 97 involving Atlantis and Dr. Wagner Jr. And then we have a 95 involving Astro Boy, Black Warrior, and Lord Parca, and a 94 involving Dr. Wagner Jr. and Octagon. If we look at their titles, so their World Heavyweight Champion is Mr. Nebula, who defeated Liz Mark Jr. in July. World Lightweight Heavyweight Champion is Latin Lover, who defeated Universal 2000 in September. Middleweight Champion is Abismo Negro, who defeated Emilio Charos. World Tag Team Champions are Rey Bucaruno and Ultimo Juro, who defeated Silver King and Miguel Perez in March 2003. World Trios Champions is Wagner, Bucanero, and Ultimo Juro, who defeated La Parca, Rey Jr. and Atlantis in April. And World Heavyweight Champion is Mascara Magica, who defeated Silver King in May 2003 as well. Size-wise, they've also been dropping, which is unfortunate. So that's interesting. And yeah, interesting. So yeah, fun times. I'm gonna have to go in and see if I can, because they shouldn't be losing that much money just because they have like an actual. Yeah, it's very weird here. Like, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I'm just. It's just really. I mean, I guess. Like, yeah, a lot of it is just like paying for the wrestlers, but still, it's interesting. Anyway, yeah, that's it for that. I'm just like, is there anything else to know? Not really. Okay, so we go to small. I'll see if there's anything of interest. So, okay. American, I mean, I'll go over like NW Wild and American on the end. Dragon Gate is now Dragon Gate. Yeah. Gaia Japan is around. HWA is around. NW Wildside is around as my developmental. And yeah, that's about it. We go down to even smaller, to tiny. Easy companies like Border City, CWF, Irish Whip Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, which is basically, it's a retirement home. As guys, it has BG James, Mark Mero, Glacier, David Flair, Iron Sheik, yeah, Robert Gibson, all on their roster. So that's interesting. Pro Wrestling Iron, Ring of Honor, which has Rob Feinstein as their owner and Rob Black as their booker. Not the Ring of Honor you're thinking of. And then if we go to down to insignificant, these things like All Pro Wrestling, Full Impact Pro, 3PW, and Pro Wrestling Unplugged. Fun times. So as a quick check, we'll go ahead and go over our two developmental feds history, and then we'll basically go over the NWA history, their title history, and then we'll move on to the last part, which is basically going to be over when we go over basically the wrestlers that have been generated by the game, and then I'll go over basically like, who's actually the best at various stuff in the game. So we start with American Wrestling Queens. If we go with their titles, so AW Tag Team Championships, started with Bonnie Maxon and Chris Cheerleader Melissa. They, they defeated guys like the Anti-Authority and the Social Scene, but they eventually dropped the titles to Anti-Authority, who is Kim Nielsen and Lacey. So, and they've held the titles since then. So basically, since July, they've held the titles of teams like Social Scene, Cheerleader Melissa and Maxon, and Counterpunch and other teams like that. And then the AWQ Championship was held by Allison Danger at the start of the year. She held the title all the way to April when Katarina Waters defeated her, and Waters got a long feud with both Melissa and Maxon. But eventually, who actually won the title from her was Kim Nielsen, who you better know as Desire from TNA, at least in our timeline, who defeated Katarina for the title in December. And just as a quick check, and oh yeah, one other thing is titles. Queen of the Ring was won by Christina Busek in November. And again, if we look at their profile, our tag teams is Anti-Authority, which is Lacey and Desire. Counterpunch, which is Roni Jonah and Vanessa Hardin. Pink Girls, which again is the name I made up, Natty Nyhart and Becky Bayless. The Non-Gay Partners, which is actually created by the computer, which is interesting. It's Tracy Brooks and Madison Sinclair. And the Social Scene of Nikki Rocks and Antisocial. So there you go. Yeah. Fun times. And then we got NWA Wildside. So their titles. Georgia Junior Heavyweight title. Let's go to history because it's easier. So starting off the year, Onyx won the title in December and he held it till April. Jimmy Rave won the title from him in April. He held the title till August. Prince Nana won the title in August. Held the title till the end of December. Who lost the title to Le Pen, better known to you guys as Adam Rose. NWA Wildside tag team titles. Were Nana and Cassie Riley held the titles from September 2002 till August of this year, 03, and then Sexton and Stradlin won the titles back. Then finally, the NWA Wildside Heavyweight Championship is a bit of a mess. As it started out with Homicide holding the title in December, he held it till April. Sterling James Keenan won the title in April. He held the title till December. Who didn't drop the title? Jason Cross. But of course, that's not the whole thing with the NWA Wildcard because they also have all the other NWA titles. So we'll go ahead and check out that real quick. Alliance, right? Yeah. So the NWA National Heavyweight title. So if we look at the history, so basically Fujiwara won it in October 2002 and held till October 2003, lost to Ernie Todd. The NWA North American Heavyweight title was held by Prince Nana until July of 2003, who lost it to Rick LePen, who held the title until December, who lost the title to Magic. The World Junior Heavyweight title was held by Todd Sexton, who held it until July. Prince Nana held the title from July till October, and now Hiroshima won it in October. The NWA World Tag Team Championships, one was held by Keith Walker and Johnny Vine at the start of the year, held the titles till May. Lopez and Nana won the titles in May, held the titles till December, when Ernie Todd and Axe won them. The World Women's title has been vacant. Well, okay, so basically, Tina Starr held the title from June 2001 to March 2003. Klondike Kate held the title from March till August. It was vacant till December. And then in December, Hannah Blossom defeated Holly Blossom for the NWA World Women's title, which is interesting. And then the World Heavyweight title, of course, was held by Monty Brown from September till May. William Jason Massagale, also known better known as Jason Cross, held the title from May to October. And then Spider, who's just a random guy, won the title in October. So there you go. I think, yeah. So next up is going to be something kind of weird and interesting. Basically, as you know, if you don't set it correctly, the game generates wrestlers, and I sort of forgot about that. But by the time, I realized that there's already people generated, so I decided to just roll with it. Because, in a different universe where WCW exists, different people get into wrestling, different people may even become big stars, so why not? So one thing I did do as part of this is basically, I found in the free picture pack some pictures that actually matched the people, and then went from there. So we first start out with Ace Dillon. He is a muscular, big heavyweight brawler. He debuted in August 2003, so he's really new. He was part of the Big Japan Dojo, which is interesting. Basically, he's a good brawler. He has some okay psychology. He has really high star quality and sex appeal, which is, why I gave him that picture. And that's about it. Attributes-wise, he's a 100% babyface, people person, and there you go. So, that's one person down. Next up is Adam Ortiz, who, is part of my developmental. He's a flabby middleweight entertainer who has 1 year of experience. He's driven, 100% babyface. He's a good brawler, good hardcore. And that's about it. So he'll probably won't do much as far as a career, but he's not terrible. We've got Antonio Cortez, who's a muscular lightweight, who's a luchador. He wrestled for CML and IWRG. He has a 70 aerial, 78 flashiness, and a 70 menace, which is interesting. And yeah, that's about all that's interesting. And he's a people person who plays dominant and badass well, despite the fact that he only weighs 205. So yeah, I can sort of see the character where he's basically like a sturdy, short, but tough guy, I guess, sort of like a Loki. Then we got R.B. Bernard, who's a 22-year-old white German male wrestler who's a light heavyweight brawler. He's a professional, 100% babyface. He's a really good brawler, and honestly, that's about it. Yeah, that's really just about it. But match-wise, he's actually had a healthy career because he's in Central Europe. So yeah, so far in his career, if we look at his career, yeah, he's had some decent matches so far, even though he's only a year into his career. And just as a quick check on the other guys, so if you look at Antonio's career, he's 27-44, which isn't terrible. Again, if we look at his top 25 matches, he basically did some jobs to Astro Boy, worked for in the 80s, Worst place to start a career. But anyway, moving on. Bradley Ward is a regular wrestler who was part of the WCW Power Plant that we didn't keep because he's not that good. He's 6'6", 303 pounds, and a born heel. And yeah, better as a heel, plays badass well. But yeah, he just has no good stats. Like, he's just a guy. He's currently unemployed, and yeah, he has no matches in history. So there you go. Bunzo Kodama is a 19-year-old Asian wrestler. He's a Puroso. He was an AJPW All Japan Trueborn. He's a light heavyweight wrestler, and he's an impactful wrestler. He's with AJPW. He has a 50 in Purasu, 59 psychology, and again, 65 in star quality, but that's about it. As you expect in All Japan, he is losing a lot. Alan Spencer is a muscular middleweight from England who trained with Harley Race. He's 6'2", 255. He has an 85 star quality, but that's really about it for him. He's 75 minutes, so he's basically a big tough guy. And again, match wise, he's had some indie matches, but that's about it. Darren Hayes is a regular wrestler. He's 6'6", 309 pounds. He's well suited to playing badasses. He's a heavyweight regular wrestler. And yeah, I mean, again, that's about it. He has good menace, but that's about it. And yeah, no actual matches in his career so far. Derek Borden is a 22-year-old English wrestler, lightweight technician, really good technical, but that's still about it. And he has one match so far, wrestling on the Indies. Dexter Dixon is a regular wrestler trained at the All-Star Academy. He's 6'2", 230 pounds. He's well suited to playing weasel-like characters. And again, he has okay charisma and microphone, but again, that's about it. And again, match-wise, he's actually had a decent career because he's with All-Star, but that's about it. So he might become a bigger star just because he's with All-Star. And then next we got Enrico Calvo, who was trained at the CMLL dojo, so he's now working at CMLL. He's 5'4", 149 pounds. He's well suited to playing weasel-like characters. He's 100% heel. And yeah, he has 83 in flashiness. But again, that's about it. I mean, if we look at his career, it's 8 wins, 26 losses. So lots of losses. Evangeline Chambers, who is again, regular wrestler, trained at Wild Simone Center, joined the World of Pro Wrestling in September 2002, 5'5", 159 pounds. She's a heel through and through, and she's good at playing crazy characters and gimmicks. Class clown, but as a heel. But yeah, she's really charismatic. She's really good on the microphone, and she has 76 appeal, 55 star quality. Not that good in the ring, and also is had some random matches. So there you go. But like that 82 charisma microphone means she probably has a future. Next up is Flynn Black. He's a regular wrestler trained at the World Association of Wrestling. He's from London, 6 foot, 233 pounds, and he's had 2 matches on the Indies. He has 76 star quality, but really that's about it for him at the moment. So, needs some experience. We got Giovanni Santo, who trained at Johnny Rod's House Hard Knocks. He's 6'6", 292 pounds. He makes a good babyface or heel. He's good at playing British characters. He's a heavyweight. And yeah. That's about it. Nothing it. Career-wise, he's had 2 matches, and yeah. Gilbert Taylor is a regular wrestler. He's 6 foot, 255 pounds. He's good at comedy, and he's actually babyface, and he's good at brawling. He has decent psychology, but again, that's about it. And again, if we look at his career so far, nothing. Ghoul, who, you're not shocked, this is not his actual regular name. He's, let's see here, joined the World of Pro Wrestling in October 2002. 6 foot, 230 pounds. He can play psychotic, crazy characters very well. And yeah, match history, decent because he's in Central Europe. and trained with the GWF, so he's not totally lost. Gano is another wrestler trained at the New Japan Dojo, but he didn't get hired by them. So he's a mercenary, brawling. He is actually very good at Puresu. He's charismatic. He's good on the microphone. Not much in other skills, but, a low star quality. But, he could eventually become he could pick up a gig on the indie scene and become a decent guy eventually. You got Jesse Lebowski, who's an MMA crossover fighter, originally from the All Japan Dojo. Been pro wrestling September 2003, 6'1", 246 pounds. Like I said, he's an MMA guy, so, driven. And yeah, he has good charisma, good microphone, good acting, terrible star quality, unfortunately. Decent menace, and that's about it. And as you can tell, he's, basically wrestled either against other rookies or been a jobber. Jesse Young is a regular wrestler, trained at Can-Am Wrestling School. He joined the wrestling world in August 2002. He's 6'5", 330 pounds, ripped heavyweight. And yeah, that's about it. Nothing special about him at all, which is why he's had 2 matches on the indies, and that's it. There's Jimmy Nelson, who's a technician, trained at Tough Enough, who joined the World Pro Wrestling in April 2003. And basically nothing special about him. He's just a guy. John Williams is an announcer, and as a result, he has 74 charisma, 70 microphone, and his announcing is at 73. So he's already signed by IWW, but he'll probably eventually be signed by a much bigger company. Hell, I might sign him if he's still not doing anything in a couple years. So we got Jennifer Figueroa, who's also an announcer, 78 charisma, 78 microphone, 83 acting, 77 announcing. And again, he's with MLW and he's with FIP already. So there you go. We got Kai Graves, who you guys used to know as Andrew Big as part of my developmental. I basically figured out his stats and what he should look like because trained at WCW Power Plant, he joined the world in pro wrestling in August 2002. The Alaskan is 6'3", 271 pounds, and is born babyface, but he's adept at playing weirdos and outballs. So there you go. He has a 60 brawling, 61 psychology, 81 star quality, 52 sex appeal, 76 basics, and 69 charisma, 69 microphone. So, not terrible. But he's still learning. So there you go. Yeah, I got Kevea Vananto, who's a Fijian, who's part of Tough Enough. He's 6'2", 227, 73 brawling, but here's the important part. He has an 87 star quality and an 84 sex appeal. Yes, he's Roman Reigns before Roman Reigns, but smaller. Good news for you guys at least is he's still on the indies. So, But he'll eventually probably picked up by somebody. Lester Roberts he's a wrestler, nothing special. He's 66 charisma microphone, but nothing special beyond that. If we look at his match history, yeah, he did a run in WAW in England, but that's about it. Louis Charisma is an announcer, again, 67 charisma microphone, and also 68 announcing. So there we go. Louise Ross is a brawler trained at the NWA UK Hammerlock School of Wrestling. She's 5'6", 146 pounds. She's playing the fan favorite or heel. She's a brawler. She's from Scotland. She has 68 sex appeal, 47 star quality, and she's basically everywhere else. Next up, we got Caleb Klein, who's an entertainer. 6'4", 285, plays the heel. And yeah. One match so far, but the interesting is, like, he has 83 charisma, 83 microphone, but no real star quality, but 90 menace. So, you know, upsides and downsides to him. Hurt Stalling, which is a name given me by the AI, not me. He's a Texan, 6'7", 291, 82 brawling, Jesus. 94 menace, 87 basics, 88 selling. Not much anywhere else. So yeah, he's a big tough guy. That's about it. He needs to be taught, basically taught how to actually wrestle. Let's see here. We've got Magnus Shaw, who's a technician. 6'1", 244, heel through and through. 65 technical, 70 acting, 74 menace, and that's about it. We've got Maddie Tremblay, who's a brawler. 6'1", 222 pounds, plays the heel, plays Brutus Grimace pretty well. And yeah, 71 brawling, 89 menace, and myths, that's everywhere else. But, you know, interesting feature for her, possibly. Marcus Meltech, you guys know, is part of my developmental roster. 72 brawling, 80 menace, myths, stats everywhere else. Massive, who used to be known as something else, Derek Massive. He's 6'5", 307 pounds. He's a muscular heavyweight. And yeah, he's just painfully meh. Miguel Angel Mariano is 6'2", 258 pounds. He's a toned middleweight. 41 brawling and myth stats everywhere else, basically. He's a guy. Mitchell Hayes is a regular wrestler. He's 6'2", 209 pounds. He's a born babyface. Muscular light heavyweight. He's a regular wrestler. And, again, sort of meh. We got Noah McWillan, who's trained at the NWA UK Hammerlock School. 6'6", 294. Brawler, so 62 brawling, 70 acting, 52 star quality, and that's about it. Raphael is trained at the OVW Wrestling School. Interesting. He's a luchador, toned middleweight, 6 foot, 262 pounds, and he has an 89 star quality, which, you know, why you give him that pretty face, 73 6 appeal, and decent stats. Like, he's not a great wrestler yet, but he's a decent, like, guy overall. Rowan Mercer is a toned light heavyweight regular wrestler, 6'4", 288, and 74 minutes, but that's about it. Suarez, who's a mask guy, luchador, and yeah, he's 73 flashiness, 60 aerial. He's part of Torimon X, or he's part of Torimon X, so he'll probably have actually a decent career just because he's, you know, be wrestling semi-regular. We got Tadusu Totara, who trained the Kantai Dojo, 6'4", 309 pounds, coming across as a badass. But yeah, 83 minutes, but that's about it. We got Tekken Shiomi, who's an announcer, 76 charisma, 76 microphone, and 78 announcing. So, you know, he's just an announcer. Really good one. Tobias, or Tobias rather, is, yeah. Trained at the All-Star Academy, 6 foot, 249 pounds. He's well suited to playing cocky characters. And he's a decent guy, just mediocre all around. So maybe he might develop into something, he might not. We got Tony Long, who, from Aberdeen, he's 6 foot, 260 pounds, technician, and he's a 57 technical, and that's about it, unfortunately. We've got Trace Hendricks, who's a entertainer, 6'7", 296 pounds. Again, lots of big boys because there's not a lot of big boys coming out in some real wrestling, so there we go. But he's a 50 in brawling and sort of meh everywhere else, so nothing too special there. We got Tyler Thomas, who's a regular wrestler, born in 6'2", 252 pounds, naturally heel, playing weird characters. He's well-rounded in the ring, like, 55 technical, 42 flashiness, 77 star quality, 60 basics, but already 100 basics. So yeah, and he's been wrestling for HWA for a while. So he might be the one that actually, like, gets to a big company soonest because he's already, like, part of the developmental territory. Warren Corey, he's a brawler, 6'5", 294, babyface or heel, brawler, 46 brawling, 70 acting, 63 star quality, but that's about it. Then we got Vernon Rothwell, who's an MMA crossover fighter, trains at the New Japan Dojo, 6'2", 283, heel through and through. So, like, he has missed stats, but here's the thing. 86 charisma, 86 microphone, 81 acting, 82 star quality, 82 menace. So there you go. One downside is he's still an MMA fighter, but he's been wrestling for Big Japan and doing not bad. Then we got Zeros Prince. He's a psychopath, 6'9", 325 pounds, obese, big heavyweight, 56 brawling, 68 charisma, 46 star quality, but that's about it. So that's basically all like the creator wrestlers. And it's interesting because there's some decent people in there who might actually become stars, and there's also like just lots of meh people. So interesting to see what happens to their careers in the long run. But regardless, time for a couple other things here. So one last thing, and then this long ass video will be done. I'm gonna basically go over like who's actually the best at various stuff. So this is everybody, as long as they're alive. So starting from the top, we got brawling. So 80 brawling is Benoit, Canyon, Sasaki, Kobashi, Angle, Kurt Stallings, Lance Cade, McFoley, Rhino, RVD, Kojima, Austin, Dreamer, Kawada, Triple H, Takayama. If we push up to 90, it's only Benoit. So if we do the same thing, 90 Purasu, it's Benoit, Kobashi, Masao. If we go 80 to 89, it's Maeda, Tanahashi, Akiyama, Sasaki, Angle, Kata, Kojima, Kawada, Nagata. Hardcore, anybody above 90? Nope. Or anybody above 80? So yeah, Asami Kodaka, who's a random low-card indie wrestler, Jack Evans of all people, Sato Tanaka, Mick Foley, of course, New Jack, Raven, Toby Klein, and Yoko Miyamoto. So again, technical-wise, 90. Who's above that? Chris Benoit, Karl Gotch, who's still alive, Kurt Angle, and Takada. So sort of what you'd expect. 80 to 89. We've got Bret Hart, Jericho, Malenko, Dr. Wagner Jr., Eddie, Liger, Hoovy, Minoru Tanaka, Nick Dinsmore, Osamu Nishimura, Paul London, which is interesting, Ray, Sean, Azuka, Dragon, Regal, Nagata. Then one last little check to see if anybody's interesting above 75. Derek Warden, who's one of my creative, Miko Satomura. And yeah, that's about all that's interesting. So, Ariel, who's above 90? Dragon Kid, that makes sense. Now, who's between 80 and 89? AJ, Kidman, Chavo, Seema, Eddie, Suzuki, Hayabusa, Evans, Jeff Hardy, Hoovy, Kaz, Minami Toyota, Matt Seidel, Mystico, Paul London, Ray Jr., Taka, Teddy, Ultimo Dragon, Ultimo Guerrero. So again, all who you'd expect. Flashiness. Again, Styles, Kidman, Dragon Kid, Jack Evans, Jeff Hardy, Hoovy, Ray Jr. Not that surprising. 8089 flashiness. Let's see. Is there any like surprising names? Okay, it's way too many names. Never mind. Psychology. Let's see here. 90. So yeah, decent amount. I think I'm just going to change to active wrestlers just in case. So there we go. Okay, so Benoit, Jericho, Eddie, Muda, Kobashi, Conan, Misawa, Flair, Michaels, Austin, DiBiase, Rock, Triple H, Triple H. Sort of who do you expect? Charisma wise, who's above 90 right now? Goldberg, Jericho, Edge, Hogan, Ango, Chono, Michaels, Austin, Rock. So basically, who do you expect? 80 to 89 though is okay. So actually, let's drop this down to 85 to 89 because that's way too many people. So 85 to 89 is Booker T, Chris Charisma, who's just a random guy who I kind of think is somebody just created a wrestler or somebody who's like somebody's like backyard wrestler because he has way too good stats. Anyway, Chris Kanyon, Darren Burridge, Jeff Hardy, Cena, Muda, Kobashi, Misawa, Savage, Flair, Choshu, RVD, Scott Hall, Scott Steiner, Shane McMahon, Sting, Trish Stratus, Vernon Rothwell, who we went over earlier, and Warrior. So there we go. Now, microphone is a whole other thing. So 90 over that is Jericho, Kanyon, Flair, Douglas, Michaels, Teddy Long, The Rock. $85.89 is Booker, Punk, Edge, Jarrett, Cornette, Angle, Chono, Foley, Heyman, Austin, Vernon Rothwell again, and William. $90 for acting is Jericho, Dustin of all people, and The Rock. Okay. And then under that, yeah, okay, whole bunch of people. Who's above 90 in star quality? Inoki, Goldberg, Sapp, Lesnar, Batista, Giant Silva, Tanahashi, Hogan, Cena, Akiyama, Hoovy. Yeah, Hoovy's interesting because he's gotten way, way good. Chono, Mike Tyson, Randy Orton, Randy Savage, Steve Austin, Teddy Hart, The Rock, Triple H, and Warrior. So next level down, 85 to 89. Calvin Spencer. Again, another great guy. Kinnick, Carlito, Chuck Palumbo. Again, guy who I got everybody over. Claudio, Punk, Garza, Jeff Hardy, China, Heinrich, Shibata, Tavia, Muto, Kobashi, Misawa, Big Show, Rafael Andres, Choshu, RVD, Sarah Stock, Michaels, Sid, CC Keebler, and The Undertaker. So fun stuff. Okay, then if we go to sex appeal. So we got, actually, let's just limit this more. So 96 to 100. Christy Hemme, Gorgeous George, Stacy Keebler. Maybe not Gorgeous George, but the other two, can't really argue those. So 90 to 95 is Elizabeth Canales, John Cena, Kim Page, Randy Orton, Randy Sable, Rob Conway, Tori Wilson, Trish Stratus. Okay. And then if we go to 85 to 89, we've got, let's see if there's anybody interesting. So we got Lexi James, Angelina Love, Viola, former Nitro Girl, Dawn Marie, Jeff Hardy, Canary Waters, let's see here, Lita, Melina, Future, oh god, what was EC3? Mika Takahashi, Molly Holly, Talia Madison, The Rock, Tracy Burks. Again, Menace, let's see here. 90 Menace, okay, we've got Ben Price, Bill Goldberg, Bob Sapp, Bobby Lashley, Lesnar, Batista, John Singh, Caleb Klein, Kurt Stallings, Lester Sheridan, who I can't tell is a real guy or not. Mark Henry, Paul White, Sid Vicious, Undertaker, and Zeresh Prince. So there we go. And yeah, just power real quick. Yeah, I mean, same people as before, so there we go. So yeah, again, This has probably been a way too long video. I don't know what people are going to watch of it, but I just, decided to have the fun to go over everything. We'll be back to our regular, tendency of 2 videos a week for, for normal shows. Starting with the first Nitro of the year, I'll have a link for a year-end awards ballot for you guys to vote on. But yeah, that'll be it. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead and give it a like if you enjoyed it. Comment below on any information you found interesting, or post it, where we see this posted. And subscribe to your channel for lots of TEW 2020 content like this, including this series, my WCW 1993 with Eric Bischoff series, and of course, my long-running MLW series. That's it for now. So talk to you later, and adios.